Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the grand finale of the ET MSME Awards 2024. Many of you already know that this is the fifth edition of what has become India's largest MSME Awards initiative. And we're growing in both participation and reach every single year. And this is testimony to the acceptance and the value the ecosystem sees in this institution. My name is Suresh Venkat. I will be your MC for tonight. Now, running an MSME business is probably one of the hardest things a human being can do. There's fierce competition, margin pressures, input costs, changing regulations, and that's just to name a few. To say nothing of global headwinds and a world full of volatility, uncertainty, and now tariffs. So today we gather here to applaud and felicitate India's best MSMEs. Take a moment to acknowledge the challenges that these entrepreneurs have faced in starting, building, and scaling their businesses. The Indian micro, small, and medium sector is micro, small, or medium only in name. This sector generates an extraordinary amount of employment, forms a large part of our GDP, and is widely regarded as the single most transformative force within the Indian economy. Some numbers now. 1/3 of India's GDP comes from the MSME sector. Over 20 crore people work in the MSME sector. 45% of India's exports are done by MSMEs. Last but not the least, today's winners are the best out of about 60 million MSMEs in India. Now, none of us know what FY26 is going to be really like. Will the US catch a cold and the rest of the world sneeze? Will there be peace in the Middle East and in Ukraine? Will India be the lone shining star amongst the world's economies? Who knows? Nobody knows the answer to these questions. But the one thing we do know, we at ET will be back here next year to recognize and felicitate the spirit of the Indian MSME entrepreneur. Here's a quick glimpse at the ET MSME Awards 2024.
The ET MSME Awards celebrating India's most dynamic small and medium enterprises. A phenomenal response from MSMEs across India, showcasing their passion, resilience, and innovation. Experts from diverse fields came together to identify the game changers of the MSME sector. A deep dive into innovation, impact, and business excellence, ensuring only the best make the cut. From thousands of participants, only the most outstanding MSMEs advanced to the final stage. Celebrating the best of the best, MSMEs that are driving growth, creating jobs, and shaping India's future. The stage is set, the winners are here. This is the ET MSME Awards.
All right, a big round of applause for all the nominees who made the cut. Like I said, over 60 million MSMEs in India. For those of you who are social media friendly, if you're going social, the hashtag to use is hashtag ET MSME Awards. You'll also see a big sculpture of the hashtag outside. If you'd like to take photographs with that while you're posting on social media, please do go ahead. Before we reveal the winners of the awards, let's start with a quick thank you to our sponsors, because nothing can happen without them. Our presenting partner, Aditya Birla Finance, our insurance partner, New India Assurance, our state partner, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, and evaluation partner, Carriage Ratings. An equally important part of the ET MSME Awards is the jury. We'd like to extend a big thank you to members of the jury. The jury chairperson, Rajesh Jejurikar, Executive Director and CEO, Auto and Farm Sector, the Mahindra Group. Jury members, Anil Bharadwaj, Secretary General FISME, Hema Annamalai, co-founder and vice chair, Green Collar Agritech Solutions, and founder and former CEO, Ampere Electric Vehicles. Joysri Das Verma, National President, Fiki Flow, Ketan Gaikwad, MD and CEO, Receivables Exchange of India, Mehul Mohanka, CEO and MD, Tega Industries, Ponuswamy M., Chairman and MD, Pond Pure Chemicals Group, and R. Narayan, Founder and CEO, Power to SME. So members of the jury, for those of you who are here with us, thank you very much for picking the winners. ET has engaged extensively with the MSME ecosystem across the country via 12 regional summits before the grand finale. And other than Aditya Birla Finance Limited and the New India Assurance Company, we partnered with Adobe, ECGC, the Bombay Stock Exchange, the Government of Gujarat, the Government of Karnataka, Magma, Stratifix Consulting, and JLR for these regional summits. Now, Aditya Birla Finance has been the key enabler of the MSME ecosystem in India. Here's a quick glimpse of the journey across 6 summits held in Pune, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Coimbatore, Indore, and Jaipur. Take a look at the journey.
Come on, come on.
All right. I now invite Pranbihanga Borpuzari, Associate Editor, economictimes.com, to say a few words and to kickstart today's proceedings. Pran, can we have you on stage?
Praveen Khanirwalji, Member of Parliament, Secretary General, the Confederation of All India Traders. Ranju Shekhar Acharya, Chairman and Managing Director, the National Small Industries Corporation Limited. Rakesh Singh, Managing Director and CEO, ABFL. Members of the jury, nominees of ET MSME Award 2024, heads of associations, special invitees, guests, and my colleagues. Good evening and welcome to this 5th edition of ET MSME Awards. With MSME Awards, our aim has always been to identify, recognize, and celebrate some of the best Indian small businesses that have demonstrated excellence in various domains. These awards serve as a platform for showcasing the outstanding contributions of MSMEs to the Indian economy and encourage innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainable business practices. This year, as already mentioned, we saw over 15,000 entries. Each entry was thoroughly analyzed, judged, and put through the stringent selection process. In the end, the hall today, with 101 nominees, represent the top companies that have stood the rigor of the selection process. I would also take this opportunity to thank our jury members, some of whom are present today, and our evaluation partner, Carriage, for helping us find the winners of this evening. How we got here has been a journey of what I would call a discovery of India. From Ludhiana to Kolkata to Coimbatore, we've traveled the length and breadth of the country to meet MSMEs and hear their stories through the MSME summits. These 12 MSME summits across different cities were perfect for us. While with the MSME Awards, we always had an avenue to meet the top Indian small businesses. With the MSME summits, we had an opportunity to multiply that many-fold. What we did once in a year, we could now do it 12 times over. And in each of these cities, we discovered fascinating stories about MSMEs. For example, In Lucknow, we learned the exquisite hand knotted carpets of Badohi and how it became a 7,000 crore export spinner for India. In Coimbatore, we heard stories of how textile powerhouse Tirupur is reinventing itself in the face of competition. In Ludhiana, the cycle industry narrated how they overcame foreign competition by getting together and enduring a brutal price war. Ludhiana today is the world's second largest hub for bicycle manufacturing in the world. In Chennai, we met Srimati Kesan, who had inspired and enabled children to make satellites. 18-year-olds got together to build the world's smallest and the lightest satellite. NASA launched that satellite, Kalamsat it was called, named after the former President APJ Abdul Kalam, in June 2017 from his facility in Virginia. Kason and her team of children followed it up by launching a communication satellite with ISRO on January 24th, 2019. It cost a mere 19 lakhs, and the satellite weighs less than 1.26 kilos. ISRO said it would help ham radio operators. City after city, we found the same grit and determination. These are the stories that make you wonder, why haven't I heard of this before? Or, wow, that's such a powerful message. Success sometimes is not flashy, nor does it make it to the front page or get celebrated enough. Sometimes it's about making that impact in that small city, town, or helping children reach out to the stars. Every entrepreneur in these cities define the ability to persevere through challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties while staying focused on the long term goals. The year long road of these MSME summits has culminated today with the 5th MSME Awards. I had the privilege of going through many of these entries, especially in the innovation category. What is clear to me that success isn't about where you start, it's about where you're determined to go. The MSME Award is not just mere trophies, they're powerful tools that recognize the efforts, resilience, and creativity of small business. In essence, the MSME Awards serve as a catalyst of success, celebrating the best small businesses that are shaping the future through their dedication, resilience, and excellence. We're lucky to have found Aditya Birla Finance as a willing and equally excited partner in our journey as we've traveled through the country for the MSME summits and the awards today. So, big thank you to ABFL. I would also like to thank our insurance partners, New India Assurance, and state partner, MIDC. I'd like to congratulate our winners for the evening and thank all of our nominees for being a part of the process. Each one of you have done remarkably well to reach this stage and is a testament to the amazing businesses you have built. I wish you all a great and fruitful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Pran. May I now call upon our keynote speaker, Mr. Praveen Khandelwal, Member of Parliament and Secretary General, Confederation of All India Traders, to say a few words. Mr. Khandelwal.
सबसे पहले तो मैं इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स को बधाई देता हूं कि कुछ पब्लिकेशन हैं जो एमएसएमई के बारे में सोचते हैं। अक्सर ये देखा है कि कॉरपोरेट सेक्टर की बात ज़्यादा होती, बट आपने एमएसएमई सेक्टर के बारे में बात की और जो मैं अभी यहाँ पर देख रहा था तो मुझे लगा कि एमएसएमई सेक्टर के अच्छे दिन अब आने वाले हैं। हम सब जानते हैं कि आने वाले समय में देश की इकोनॉमी का कोई ड्राइवर यदि है तो वो देश का एमएसएमई है। अभी हमारे एंकर नंबर पढ़ रहे थे, 60 मिलियन की उन्होंने बात कही, मैं उसको कॉन्टेस्ट नहीं करूंगा लेकिन वो ज़्यादा है। लेकिन 60 मिलियन एमएसएमई है हिंदुस्तान में, कई देशों की तो पूरी इतनी पॉपुलेशन भी नहीं है। तो इसका मतलब है कि हमारे पास ताकत है, उसको ग्रो करने की कैपेसिटी है, हमारे पास वो सरकार है जो एमएसएमई सेक्टर को आगे बढ़ाना चाहती है। अगर ऐसा ना होता तो प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना ना होती, जिसके अंदर कोलेटरल फ्री लोन एमएसएमई को मिल रहा है। और ये जितना एमएसएमई का पूरा सेक्टर है, ये सेल्फ ग्रोथ है। अभी मैं राकेश जी से बात कर रहा था, बैंक के पास जाओ तो बैंक फाइनेंस नहीं करता, लेकिन आदित्य बिरला जैसे जो ग्रुप है, उनको पता है कि लैंडिंग कैसे की जाती है और रिकवरी कैसे की जाती है। इसीलिए एमएसएमई सेक्टर का एनपीए शायद टोटल मिलाए तो मेरे ख्याल से 1% भी नहीं होगा। तो जिस सेक्टर का एनपीए 1% के बराबर है और वो सेक्टर यदि 40% जीडीपी को ग्रोथ करता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि उस सेक्टर को बढ़ावा देना चाहिए और उस सेक्टर के लिए हमें कहीं ना कहीं सोचना चाहिए। जहां तक कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का सवाल है, मैं कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर के खिलाफ नहीं हूं, लेकिन तमाम सरकार की पूरी योजनाएं मिलने के बाद, बैंकों से लोन लेने के बाद, कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का जीडीपी में कंट्रीब्यूशन मात्र 15 से 17% है। और ये जो एमएसएमई सेक्टर है, इसको कितनी सपोर्ट मिलती है ये हम सब लोग जानते हैं। रोज बहुत सारी पॉलिसीज हैं जिनके कारण से हम लोगों को दो चार होना पड़ता है। बैंक फाइनेंस नहीं करते, पॉलिसी लेवल पर प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, स्किल हमारे यहाँ है तो सही, लेकिन उसकी अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं है, उसका यूसेज नहीं है। ऐसी बहुत सारी चुनौतियों के बावजूद अगर जीडीपी में एमएसएमई सेक्टर कंट्रीब्यूट करता है, तो हमें ये मानना पड़ेगा कि इस सेक्टर को यदि नर्चर किया जाए तो इस सेक्टर में एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ होने के चांसेस हैं। आज हमारे देश का एमएसएमई सेक्टर यहाँ पर खड़ा है और यहाँ तक वो जा सकता है, और उसके लिए हमारी सरकार, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में बहुत सारे फैसले हमारी सरकार ने किए हैं जिससे इस ग्रोथ को और बढ़ावा मिला है। लेकिन अभी बहुत कुछ करना बाकी है। मैं जरूर इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स से कहूँगा कि आपने जो अलग अलग सबमिट की हैं, आपके अपने जो भी आपने बारीकी से उसको देखा है, आपकी ऑब्जर्वेशंस क्या हैं, यदि आप वो ऑब्जर्वेशंस को कंपाइल करके और यदि आप हमको दें, तो हम सरकार में बैठ करके उसके लिए क्या कुछ और कर सकते हैं। तो मैं समझता हूं कि ये जो सीरीज आपने की है, इस सीरीज को करने की सार्थकता सिद्ध हो जाएगी। ये केवल इवेंट करने का इवेंट ना हुआ, आपने जो इसके लिए नॉलेज गैदर की है, और जैसा अभी हमारे एंकर बता रहे थे, अभी प्रांत जी बता रहे थे, जैसा हिंदुस्तान की ये खासियत है, हमारा हर शहर, चाहे वो छोटा हो या बड़ा हो, उसकी अपनी एक स्पेशलिटी है। अभी जैसे उन्होंने भदोही के कारपेट का जिक्र किया, कोयम्बतूर का जिक्र किया, इसी प्रकार से केवल ये हिंदुस्तान है जिसके हर शहर में उसकी एक स्पेशलिटी है। अगर उसको सपोर्ट दिया जाए तो वो ग्रो हो सकती है, और वो सारा का सारा एमएसएमई सेक्टर है। तो इस नाते से मैं आपसे जरूर ये अनुरोध करूंगा कि आपकी स्टडी शायद हमें सरकार में बैठ करके पॉलिसीज बनाने के काम आ सकती है। आज इस अवसर पर आपने मुझे बुलाया, इसके लिए मैं आपका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। लेकिन मैं ये जरूर कहूँगा कि मैं यहाँ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट की हैसियत से नहीं आया हूँ। मैं क्योंकि व्यापारी हूँ और मैं कहीं भी पहुँच जाऊँगा, लेकिन मेरे अंदर के व्यापारी को मरने नहीं दूंगा। मैं संकल्प के साथ आपकी इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आया हूँ। मैं यहाँ से कुछ सीख करके जाना चाहता हूँ, जो मैं पार्लियामेंट में बैठ करके अपने मंत्रियों के साथ, अपने सहयोगियों के साथ बैठ करके हम एमएसएमई सेक्टर के लिए कुछ कर पाए। मैं एक बार फिर आपका बहुत बहुत आभार मानता हूँ कि आपने एमएसएमई सेक्टर के लिए ऐसा किया, और मैं निश्चित रूप से ये उम्मीद करूँगा कि इसके आगे अभी एक लंबी लाइन इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स जरूर खींचेगी, ऐसा मुझे पूरा विश्वास है। एक बार फिर मैं आपका धन्यवाद करता हूं। आप सब जो यहाँ बैठे हैं, मैं आपका भी धन्यवाद करता हूं, और अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हुआ भारत माता की जय कह के अपना स्थान ग्रहण करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Mr. Khandelwal. Unfortunately, I have to call you back on stage, sir, to give away some awards. May I request you to come back onto stage to give away the first set of awards? May I request Mr. Rakesh Singh, MD and CEO, Aditya Birla Finance, to join Mr. Khandelwal on stage. Right, with that, let's kick off our first set of awards. Our first award is for the automotive category, and here are the nominees. All right, any guesses to who the winner is? The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Sogefi ADM Suspensions Private Limited. Check, yeah. Quick question, can I ask you to... So you manufacture automotive suspension systems. What is the biggest suspense in your industry for the year 2025?
So the cost is the biggest suspense, which is always is a pressure by the customers, and we have to keep deliver by meeting all the quality and the supplies. So the resilience, we made a strategy of operational and financial and organization, and by doing so, we are managing this industry.
All right, congratulations, Sogefi Systems. Brings us to our second category. This category is Pharmaceutical and Healthcare MSME of the Year, and here are the nominees. All right, let's now announce the winner in the pharma and healthcare sector. Any guesses? No? Silent audience. The winner is Plasti Surge Industries Private Limited. Plasti Surge, can we have you on stage? Hi, can I have a quick question with you? Can I request you to step aside? I have a quick question for the audience. How many here practice yoga or any form of fitness? How many do regular health checks? Okay, so if India gets healthier and healthier, it's a net negative for your industry. Right? How will you deal with that?
Not exactly health negative. India is a big market. Unfortunately, we are importing 70% of our medical devices and disposables. So we are trying to indigenize the manufacturing of medical devices and making low-cost point of sale products, which will help everybody to regularly keep themselves updated with their health parameters.
We wish you a very healthy future for your company. Congratulations. Right. Let's move on to our next category. It's the award for the best MSME in the electrical and electronics sector. Let's take a look at the nominees. Right, and the winner, ladies and gentlemen, in the electrical and electronics sector is New Jesa Technologies Limited. New Jesa, can we have you on stage? It's a quick question for you. Actually, unrelated to what you do as a business. You know, the company New Jaisa sounds like a Bollywood name. Did Karan Johar actually name your film Ishq Jaisa, New Jaisa?
Uh, Basically, new JSI is nothing but like new. So we are making IT products affordable, quality service, and refurbished old systems and make it carbon sustainability of the products. So that's what we call as new JSA, like new. That's the name what we have given to it.
Okay. Congratulations to you, and we wish you a glorious future. May I request Deepak Ajwani to join us on stage? Congratulations, New Jaisa Technologies. That brings us to our next category, the clothing and apparel category, and here are the nominees. Right, and the winner in the clothing and apparel category is Kariwala Industries Limited. Kariwala, can we have you on stage? Sir, there's an urban legend that clothing and food are recession-proof businesses. Let me hold that for you. Would you agree that you're in a recession-proof business?
I would definitely not agree to this. It is fully recession and promotion. This is like, okay, for basic, very basic stuff, yes. It could be like, yes, during pandemic, the discount stores and other things, they were, okay, pulling us up. But now with so much of volatility, with the two wars going on, we are like always at the brink. And it is like, we are supporting, it's a very labor intensive thing. So we have to support a lot of people. So it is like we have to be always on the toes. And that is what it is all about, impact and innovation, as you said. So we believe that we continue the good work and continue to have the impact which we are able to create. Thank you.
All right, and we hope to see you back on stage next year with us.
Definitely. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Mr. Singh. Can I request you to take your seats? It's now time for what we call the special address of the day. May I invite Mr. Subhranshu Shekharacharya, Chairman and MD, National Small Industries Corporation Limited, to say a few words. Mr. Acharya?
Respected dignitaries of the dais, the members of MSME fraternity who have come here all the way for this important event of the year by Economic Times, members from press and media, ladies and gentlemen. Today it is one moment that possibly many of us look forward to. This is one event that has tremendous amount of credibility in the system, and people who are today winning, they deserve all the accolades. So my congratulations to all the winners who are winning today in different categories. May the next years and the years following that be better and better, and they contribute to the country's kind of the target or the objective of meeting $5 trillion economy by 2028 or 27. So, when we're talking about the MSMEs and we are celebrating the success of some of the MSMEs today, in fact, it is a moment to pause and reflect. Yes, there are MSMEs which are today getting awards. Today, we are recognizing them for their excellent performance. But we must also, keep in mind this recognition comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility as well. This country is today, you know, we all know that, the registered MSMEs have over the Udyam portal and the Udyam Assist portal crossed 6.5 crores. Now, if that is the kind of a population we are thinking about, we are talking about, then what exactly is the kind of responsibility that we together who are here in this hall have towards this community? Now, if we are talking about 2047 as the year when we all want to see our country a developed nation, then of course there is no doubt that it is the only sector, that is the MSME sector, that is going to play a major significant role. We all know that because of several reasons which need not repeat here today. But if 15 if 15 million students who are coming out of our universities and institutions of higher learning every year are to be engaged in a purposeful manner for nation building, then there cannot be any other sector other than MSME sector. Today, as per the latest data, the agriculture sector is contributing 47.56% of the total, manpower workforce of the country. But the contribution to the GDP is a little less than 20%. In contrast, MSME sector is contributing about 30% and is employing about around, say, 18-20 crore people. So the incremental employment opportunity creation capabilities exist only with the MSME sector. And that be so, then today the people who are getting rewarded for their good work have the responsibility to mentor the other units in the country, because today we are not living in a era of competition. Era of competition is past. Today is an era of collaboration. And if we are in a position to showcase our work before the larger audience and we are winning accolades for that, we have to mentor our smaller units who are in the same cluster. I believe many of you are from the clusters. We have so many registered clusters and so many of the clusters which are which exist but possibly are smaller. But when we see that the MSMEs which can actually contribute much but are not in a position to do that, it is our responsibility to come forward and handhold them and see that they also come up to a level where today we are, because nobody can say that I am a self-made man. There is somebody behind the success of everyone. So somebody has contributed to our success, so we must also ensure that we contribute to the success of another 10 MSMEs. Then in today's fiercely competitive world, nobody need to emphasize the need for competitiveness amongst the MSMEs. And how do they achieve that? We have to ensure as a group, as a sector, that how do we become cost competitive and quality competitive? Today, possibly, what position existed as far as the access to credit issue is concerned does not exist anymore. I'll not say that it has completely vanished, but still the access to credit with fintechs, with NBFCs, with banks, with microfinance institutions, with small finance banks has become much, much more easier. But the other two aspects of access to market and access to technology and availability of skilled workforce still continues to haunt the MSME ecosystem. So how do we promote the access to market of our MSMEs? How do we enhance their competitiveness? And how do we see that they get the kind of manpower on the shop floor to enhance the quality competitiveness of their products? So these are the aspects on which we need to deliberate, and these are the aspects on which the institutions, their existing institutional architecture in the country, like the NSIC, like the technology centers of the Office of Development Commissioner and Additional Secretary's Office. So, how do we leverage the availability of such infrastructure in the country and make sure that the competitiveness of our MSMEs, whether in terms of quality competitiveness or cost competitiveness, is kind of ensured. Now, say few years ago, we all were thinking that possibly the participation in domestic and international exhibitions is the only way to showcase our products, or to possibly make the world discover our products and services. But today, with advent of technology, the e-commerce platforms especially, they have made life easier for all of us. But when we see that there are only 2-3 platforms in the country, that is the whether you call it Amazon or Flipkart, etc., there is a tremendous scope for onboarding our MSMEs, especially the micro and small segment, over the digital commerce platform. So realizing this particular need of our MSMEs, government had introduced this ONDC protocol, which is to democratize the electronic commerce for everyone. And few months ago, a very ambitious program has been launched by Government of India, which NSIC is spearheading. That is the TEAM initiative, Trade Enablement and Marketing Initiative. And we are planning to onboard 500,000, that is 5 lakh kind of micro and small enterprises over the electronic commerce platform, out of which 50% will be women entrepreneurs. So that is also a focus area. So going forward, we'll be reaching out to the MSMEs in every cluster, in every small towns and districts, about 150 of them, and try to onboard as many as possible to enhance their discoverability over the e-commerce platforms. So that is what is a massive program that is going to happen very soon. And of course, when we are talking about the enhancing the competitiveness, in addition to enhancing the competitiveness in terms of cost and quality, it is equally important that we ensure that our product is discovered by the intending audience, and the kind of offerings that we are giving is we are in a position to reach to our intended customers in a much simplified manner without much involving much cost. So the platform, the protocol, rather the ONDC protocol, and the seller network participants who are going to be onboarded on this, there are about 100, 25 are already onboarded. They are going to reach out region-wise, cluster-wise to the micro and small entrepreneurs and onboard them over these digital platforms, so that the access to market issue is taken care of by leveraging technology. As far as the skilling requirement is concerned, as I told, there are immense efforts. There are institutional architectures that is put in place, because it is extremely important. Now we bring in the best of the available technology, the machines to our shop floor, but we do not have adequate manpower to handle it. So that is a larger problem. I'm not saying everybody is facing the same problem, but by and large, we have seen that this is a problem, and we have been trying to ensure availability of skilled manpower to our MSMEs to work on the shop floor. So there are many such initiatives that is in the offing. Many of the things are yet to be announced, which may not be the right forum to talk about it. But I can say that we are today living in exciting times for our MSMEs, and going forward, the contribution of the MSMEs to the overall national growth objectives is going to only increase. And this is the sector that is going to substantially pull the country towards its objective of a developed nation status by 2047. Once again, I congratulate all of you who have won today, the accolades who are being rewarded or who have already been rewarded and going to get rewards in this or awards in this important award function. And I extend my best wishes to the organizers and to all MSMEs who are present here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Acharya. I request you not to take your seat. I need to call you back on stage to give away the next 4 awards. Can I request you to come on stage? And to join Mr. Acharya, may I invite Kalpesh Patel, Senior Director, Care Edge Ratings. Kalpesh. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. The next award category is the top performing listed Indian SME, and here are the nominees. All right, we have 4 nominees, and the winner, the top performing listed SME for the year, is once again New JESA Technologies Limited. New JESA, can we have you back on stage? Congratulations once again, New JESA Technologies. Our next award category is called the MSME Women Entrepreneur Micro, and here are the nominees. Once again, 4 nominees. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, in this category is Unique Solution. Unique Solution, can we have you on stage? Hi, can I ask you a quick question before you go back onto stage? No problem. Which language would you like me to ask in? Any language? Okay, so what makes Unique Solutions so unique? That's my question to you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. Unique Solution has been unique in a way when we started our work from defense background. I retired from Navy, started off with a small glitch where we found a small gap which we could pull on. There was a service sector which we found there was a very big lag. And the timely delivery of ships was a problem for the sector, shipping sector. Then we bridged the gap. We tried to bring in some more services in, and that's where we made ourselves unique. Now we were instrumental in about 8 ships. We have delivered to this country 8 ships on time, and that's where we have been instrumental and unique. Thank you so much.
All right, hope your company stays ship-shape for the next many years. Congratulations, Unique Solution. Our next category is Women Entrepreneurs Small, and here are the nominees. All right, we have 5 nominees in this category, and the winner in this category is Prevest Denpro Limited. Prevest Denpro. Let me hold that for you. From what I understand, you work in the dental industry. So what is the tooth, the whole tooth and nothing but the tooth about your success?
Actually, when we entered in this field 25 years back, that time hardly one or two dental companies were manufacturing this product. So our competition was mostly with MNC, multinational companies. Multinational companies were dominating India, and that time we entered. And with my husband is and me, we started this business in 1999, and we got this success when we didn't get much success in India. We started exploring in exports all over the world, and we participated in different exhibition, Germany, Dubai, USA, South of America. So now we are exporting our material in more than 80 countries. So this is the success.
Congratulations, previous Dentro. We wish you many more years of success. Our next category is Woman Entrepreneur Medium, and here are the nominees. Three nominees in this category, and the winner, any guesses? You almost get, oh no, you don't get a prize. The winner is SP Scaffolding India Private Limited. Quick question, let me hold it for you. No problem? Okay. So you provide, can I ask you to step forward? You provide scaffolding solutions so buildings can be built. Who provided the scaffolding for your career?
So, right question, I would say, because I have the two most important people of my life who have given me the scaffolding for my career. My husband, Mr. Santosh Chaskar, who is very much here today, and my mother. So she is also here today. These are the, Mama. So they are the two most important people who have given me the scaffolding, the wings, to fly and to take off to such a great height. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, SB Scaffolding. Mr. Patel, Mr. Acharya, thank you for doing the honors. Thank you very much. I'm going to request a few chairs be brought onto stage right now, because coming up next, we have a panel discussion on a very crucial subject, tariff disruptions and how companies can counter the current global uncertainties. I'm first going to invite our moderator Pran. Pran, can we have you on stage to take over anchoring duties for this discussion? We're just going to give our colleagues a couple of minutes to place the chairs. May I now invite our panelists, Mr. Anil Bharadwaj, Secretary General FISPI, Nisha Taneja, Professor ICRIER, Manasvi Srivastava, Independent Consultant, International Trade and Tariffs, and Pankaj Chadda, Chairman of the EEPC. Over to you, Pran.
Thank you. So a topic which probably when we started this fiscal wouldn't have been a contender for discussion, but given what's happening in the last, I think since January, we very much felt the need to have a chat on this. And my first question to you, Mr. Bharadwaj, since you're sitting close to me, is, you meet a lot of exporters, you meet a lot of people who are in exports business, What is your sense of what the global economic picture looks like, and what is its impact for Indian small businesses?
Thanks, ET, first of all, and my congratulations to the awards winners today. I think manufacturing and especially business in India is still a very, I would say, challenging vocation. So those people who have taken it upon themselves to enter into this and has done well need to be identified and rewarded, and so it is doing. I think this is a great. Thank you very much. Now, coming to the question, see, MSMEs in India contribute almost 45% plus to exports, and in some sectors they are pretty predominant players like textile and garments, gems and jewelry, leather, auto components, pharmaceutical also, especially formulations. So these particular sectors are important, and there are other sectors also where they are doing pretty okay. But in the current circumstances, the sense we are getting is that economic growth, because of various factors, are going to be moderate. That's what most of the international institutions, particularly UNCTAD, OECD, WTO, are predicting that economic growth is going to be around 3.2 to 3.3%. Primarily because of the factors, because after the COVID, we had a spike in growth when the economic growth GDP went beyond 5%. But now it has tapered down. So we are in the moderate growth region. I think that's what the expectations are. One factor I think then I could come to that later is related to the recent developments that are coming from related to tariffs, and then we can specific issues.
Hello. Yep. Shop, coming to you, so much being talked about tariffs. You're talking about trade wars now. Can you quantify what is the damage done till now? And while we all expected trade wars, has the volatility and the intensity that we've seen till now, has it caught policymakers on the wrong foot?
Yeah, we all want to know the numbers, but unfortunately, we don't have too many numbers. But I thought maybe the numbers that are coming out is because this is something that's going to impact the whole world. So OECD has come out with these estimates that global GDP next year is going to be 3.1. It is going to slow down to 3.1% in 25, and in 26 it will be still lower at 3% with sustained inflation. So the scenario is not too good. But the estimates that are coming out are on the US, Mexico, China, arrangement and the trade that is going on between them, because they're going to be targeted in addition to China. And so the estimates are coming out on what kind of job losses there are going to be and what kind of reduction in GDP there's going to be. And under two scenarios. One is if US imposes the tariffs on these two countries, and the other is when the two countries retaliate. Unfortunately, the losses are going to be a lot more under the retaliatory scenario. And the losses are going to be far more for Canada and Mexico than for the US. So, we don't know how the game is going to play out. And all the countries are actually looking at what they should do. But what is interesting is that India is actually looking, we've been proactive in it. We've decided to reduce some of our tariffs. And I think that's been a very smart game on our part, because our tariffs have been really high and some of them quite irrational. So maybe this is actually a blessing in disguise, that it gives us a chance to reduce our tariffs.
Right. Pankaj, if I can come to you, how's engineering exports looking at, the future? How's it doing now? Nisha says, some of the tariffs probably that India had might have been a bit irrational. How is it that you see it?
Well, we are the guys who already hit. So I have the numbers. Our exports are totally about $120 billion. 28% of India's exports sits in my council. $20 billion is to USA. And currently the tariff that got put on 12th of March hits us by about $5 billion. Chapter 72, Chapter 73, and Chapter 76. Chapter 72 is steel. Chapter 73 is products of steel, derivatives of steel. Chapter 76 is aluminium. And unfortunately, if you see, if it's $5 billion of export, with a 60-day voyage period, we have $1 billion on high seas, which is getting hit by 25% tariff as and when it lands and when it gets cleared. So this is the damage as of now. That's the damage which India is facing now with the 12th March tariff. Now we talk about the reciprocal tariff, which is coming in on 2nd of April. Since I'm part of the think tank and we are actively discussing things, there is a plan to reduce duties. Yes. The question is, what he's looking at is a very different ball game than what we are looking at, because the concept of a reciprocal tariff is, will it be on the same item? Will it be on the same product group? Or will it be across the board? I have some discussions which I would keep it not in the public domain, the discussions that happened. But broadly, the fact was that when we looked at our items, we, as you would know, that what we export to US is not what we import from US. It's not possible because that's not the way it is. So we proposed to them that Chapter 72, 73, and 76 will give us zero duty on all the items from USA. We'll buy it at zero duty. The US didn't take it. They said, what am I supposed to do with 72 and 73 and 76? Where do I sell it to you? So the fact remained that they said no deal. Recently, when the bilateral talks are going on. So the question is, what exactly will you determine as a reciprocal tariff? Point is, they want auto and agriculture on the table. Now, even I would look at it from the point of view that agriculture is a strict no-no. It's something which is I would say, above my pay scale. So we'll leave it at that. But the auto part is there. Now, even there also, we have such a vibrant auto system and the auto component system behind it. Can we afford? We can. The auto component industry, which I had a discussion, which said we are agreeing to reciprocal tariff. But the question is for auto, we must realize one problem that we are facing is that we could give them, I would say, a preferential duty structure. But we have one problem which we have to realize, that we are also negotiating a free trade with EU, which we intend to sign this year, and a free trade with UK, which we intend to sign this year. So the question is, we can't have a bilateral agreement with USA, which reduces auto tariff to a very low number, and tell the EU, sorry, this was only for the USA. For you, we will not do. Now we are having a situation in our other negotiations, which also I'm part of. The fact is that the other nations, now they're negotiating with us on free trade, are getting more tougher and saying, listen, if you have an X tariff for X country, the same tariff applies to us. And it is part of our Australia FTA, which we have, that we have already signed that we can't give Australia a tariff and give a lower tariff to somebody else. So we are having this dichotomy also that we need to look after. So it's like dropping the tariff is one issue, but dropping the tariff to a level that it hurts us when you drop it for the others also. So we'll have to play it. I would say, let's see what is the actual definition of a reciprocal tariff. And then maybe we take a call from it, how we go about it.
Right. Mazri, coming to you, already had 3 panelists speak about it. What is your view on this? EPC already says, they have been, one of the first ones to suffer from it. What are your views?
Well, the most important thing is that we do not know which way the picture will evolve over a period of time because nobody knows what the US administration is trying to drive at. I was looking at a podcast by Mr. Paul Krugman, a Nobel Prize winner specializing in international trade. And what he said was that the biggest problem is not the imposition of tariffs. The biggest problem is the uncertainty, because that is what will kill investment initiatives. It will also kill future plans, and it introduces a lot of randomness in international trade. But, this is a bit of a long answer question if you ask me. Why are we where we are? Probably the US leadership, which is ruling currently, feels that tariff is the one silver bullet which is going to solve a lot of their problems. So what we hear from the US administration is that you impose tariffs and you are able to solve the border security problem. You impose tariffs and you will have less fentanyl coming into US. You impose tariffs and you are also going to solve the employment problem because you will have industry coming up, which is actually not true. Because if that was the case, India used to have 150% tariff, 50% tariff about 20, 30 years back. Were we very industrialized at that time? No. So tariffs do not necessarily drive industrialization. So what is in the minds of the current administration? Actually, it's a very difficult thing to guess. Probably what they're trying to do is to get countries on the negotiating table, use this primarily as a bargaining chip, which is what we also need to do. And I heard a lot of things being said about what is the meaning of reciprocal tariffs. I only wish that USA does not understand reciprocal tariff to mean I'm going to charge what you're going to charge. Because what we've also heard from the US administration is that you impose import GST. And that is discriminatory because we don't impose import GST. That's I would say that's a nonsensical argument. Because import GST has to be imposed so that foreign goods compete on an equal footing with domestically manufactured goods. But it's very difficult to drive that argument as of now if the opposing party stonewalls the argument. So one thing is that the only alternative is to engage because retaliation is not going to get us anywhere. India has some leverage in this because considering that we are an oil-consuming nation and US is one of the biggest producers of oil, we've heard this said by many people that can we leverage our oil demand, shift some of the demand to US. Secondly, certain other things like there is this moratorium on customs duties on electronic transmissions. Those who follow WTO would know that this is a moratorium which gets renewed periodically. And in the past, we have been using it as a bargaining chip for certain things. March 2026 is when it is going to come up for renewal. Maybe we should use that as well. Finally, defense purchases. This is again something which gives us some leg room to juggle our demand and maybe negotiate with the US as to how we can decide that reciprocal is not a one-to-one mapping between your goods and my goods, but let's see as to how we can do the mapping in a different way. The other thing that makes me concerned is that the WTO regime actually does not permit you to have differential treatment across countries. You cannot really have a country-wise tariff. I'm going to charge 20% to India, 10% to Belgium, 30% to Brazil, because there is this concept of most favored nation within the WTO rules. But if the current US administration is not willing to sanctify or even agree that that the WTO rules have any sanctity, then what are we going to do? And that probably is a later discussion we can talk about as to how there can be different trade groups which probably can, in a way, counter the influence of the US. But India will have to keep all its options open and engage with the US, do not retaliate, make some concessions, as I heard Nisha say that some of our tariffs were high. And in fact, in the past few years, we've been seeing them climbing, even to some extent violating certain international agreements that we had signed. You would be aware that the Information Technology Agreement we are a signatory to, and we decided that even though we committed to imposing zero tariffs, we will still impose tariffs on mobile phones. So some of these things have come back to bite us. We violate agreements, then the others also feel emboldened that what is the sanctity of what you've signed on. So complicated topic, but I expect we will find a way. This is probably a disequilibrium condition as of now. Hopefully it will settle down to some equilibrium and then we'll find a way forward.
Right. So a disequilibrium situation. Anil, coming to you, in such a situation, what should companies do? I mean, there are a lot of people who export here, a lot who do not, but are still not immune to what is happening.
See, uncertainties are stemming from several areas. One is geopolitical, which is very clear. Economic slowdown is also staring us. Then we have the policy-led uncertainties coming from, like, reciprocal tariffs. And then in the end is inflation. As today also the RBI has said that, if we go for reciprocal tariff type of interventions are going to lead to or stoke inflationary pressures. So put together, I mean, that means that, the world trade is going to be volatile for quite some time. But the specific suggestions could only be given specific to the sectors. Because especially in India, while some of the sectors are not doing well on the export front, many of the sectors are doing pretty well in the domestic front because of the huge investment outlays that are there in infrastructure. So, for example, power sector is all MSMEs that are suppliers to different segments of power sector are doing pretty well. So is the infrastructure, the projects, and services are also doing well. In exports also services are doing very well, but only in certain areas of manufacturing, particularly with regards to US, you say, like while the US tariff had been in the range of 3 to 5% mostly, but within textile and apparel and textiles, we had products where there had been spikes in the tariff. Like, some of the items are attracting tariff as high as 18%. The average seems to be 3%, but then suddenly 18%. So is the case in the leather sector. So is in the case in gems and jewelry sector. So, I mean, when it comes to reciprocal tariffs, at this moment, it's very difficult to really calculate how much is going to impact. But these 3-4 sectors where MSMEs are pretty predominant in the US, so in the gems and jewelry, apparel, textiles and apparels, leather, auto components, all these 4 sectors are ones which are definitely under the cloud of uncertainties. And I think one of the message that is there is that uncertainties are killing more than what the reality might not bite us as much. I would say.
But do you think there is enough in the domestic markets to cater some of our, say, export needs? Do you think there is enough strength in the domestic market?
In certain product categories, yes, but it may not be in other categories. Like, auto components, again, auto sector itself is going through a transformation. The EVs are doing pretty okay. Well, they are going in double digits. We don't know whether what would be the situation of the traditional fuel-driven, can say, automobiles. What would be the next 3 to 4 years? And other thing is that when we are discussing about tariff, India somehow to lag kind of a strategy to focus. See, it is a fact that if you are going to have an export-led strategy, which many times we are giving this impression that we are intended to, then we have to have low tariff regime. But unfortunately, for far too long, we have kept a high tariff regime. And it's not just 15% in certain product categories like steel, copper, aluminium, polymers, plastic raw material. The tariff rates have been pretty high. And not only the tariff, then apart from the tariff, we had anti-dumping duties. Then we had safeguard duties. I mean, today, the safeguard duties have been imposed. On one hand, we agree that there is a need to reduce the import duty on steel. On the other hand, we are going to increase the safeguard duty. So this, I would say, confusion is also resulting in confusion in the minds of the people who are going to invest. They can't take long-term bets if such is going to be the situation. I mean, we have to decide, are we going to be a country focused on the domestic growth, or are we going to be a country that would be more, having an export-led strategy? For export-led strategy, I would argue, and this has been our experience, this has been the experience of our members, that we have to have a very low tariff regime. Without that, you can't be competitive. And this is one of the most important and first steps to become competitive in global market.
Nisha, coming to you, I think Anil echo some of your sentiments when he says that, we need to be a low tariff based regime. Uh, Coming to you, if and when, the reciprocal tariffs take place on April 2nd, what do you think would be the contours of something like this, and what would be the impact? Which sectors tend to, be in a disadvantageous position?
I think, if you're talking about, so what is US's primary concern? They want to reduce their trade deficit. Which is the country with whom they have the largest trade deficit? China. And India comes at number 10. So if they want to, so we are way low in this list. And when it comes to the tariff game, it's really China and the rest of the world. And I think there is too much obsession right now with tariffs, and we're not thinking beyond tariffs at all. But if we have to think about it first, then maybe we need to think about where is it that both US and India have a win-win case. And I think those are cases where, where the US wants to move away from China because it's way too dependent. And and if we have a comparative advantage in those items, then it's a win-win for both US and India. So that is what we have to shift the levers of negotiation towards those items. Let's take iPhones, for example. In iPhones, 10% of the US imports from China are only iPhone. So, in India US is importing 45 billion from China, and only 5 billion worth of smartphones from India. So that's the kind of potential that there is for India to expand its exports, because even if the US comes down from 45 to say 20 billion from China, it's another $15-20 billion for us, just one item. And pharmaceuticals is another item where we are globally competitive. A lot of the engineering items that China is exporting and we could export. So we have to bring this aspect into the negotiating process. That's one. The other, which is our irrational tariffs, again, coming to smartphones. If we are the third largest exporter of iPhones, even with just 15 billion right now in the world, we have a 20% duty on import of iPhones. We're becoming globally competitive. So why do we have this? This is also part of the irrationality. In agriculture item, we have a lot of tariffs which are way too high, which can be reduced. We are the largest exporter of rice in the world. And we have an 80% import duty. Why? I mean, there are a whole range of items that we can, list out. But the other thing is that even if we have to give in to some tariff reductions, maybe we should, and we have to cover up by giving other kind of subsidies to our firm, which don't catch the attention of the rest of the world. For instance, trade finance. Trade finance, what is China doing? It has one of the most powerful instruments of trade finance. A lot of our Indian firms are importing from China because China is, even though the unit prices are much higher than their competitors, even then the Indian importers are going to China because of the terms of finance that they're offering. So they'll offer a longer time frame. They'll offer all the payments to be backloaded. So these are very attractive. So for large importers, it becomes a very attractive proposition. So I think a lot of these things we need to build in and look at more ways of making our exports more competitive. Statutory compliances. Why don't we give subsidies or reimbursement of these expenses to our exporters, especially the medium and small enterprises? They become globally competitive. So the point is that we can play this game by bringing in a lot of other factors and focusing more on the overall picture of how can we expand our exports.
Right. Coming to you, Pankaj, you've recently talked about continuous support from the government to stay competitive. What exactly are you looking for?
Actually, I don't think in the budget there is any support. So the fact remains that if I'm talking about it, it's just a wish list. The interest equalization scheme, which was 3% to the MSMEs, has been withdrawn on 31st of December. We are pushing hard. We hope to get it. I am eternal optimist on that. And because the government has given in the budget 2250 for the export promotion mission. Right, out of the 2250 is 200 crores is the MAI scheme and 50 crores is Lab Diamond. So remaining out of that is 2000 crores. So we have proposed to them that at least, because in the previous interest exemption equalization scheme had all the MSMEs and 418 tariff lines which were labor intensive also. So the fact is the kitty is smaller. So we have proposed that at least just give it to the MSMEs and leave aside the 418 tariff lines. So that possibly, if we were to do that, and if the government accepts, which we're very close to it, we could get that in some form or the other. So that is one, you may call it as support from the government, which was there, which has been removed, but looks like it might come back in maybe a different name, but effectively the same. There's also the factoring thing that in the budget is there. But the factoring problem that we have faced is that we have looked at it, we've tried to implement it in ECGC. And the fact remains that the problem is that it's not a without recourse factoring. If you see even banks also, if you see ECGC also, they have a rider that if there is a quality claim, then the factoring does not apply. And you know, we are all businessmen, and I'm sure any businessman knows that when he supplies goods, if somebody doesn't want to pay him, he gives you a one-line thing that the quality is not okay, I'm losing money, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't say, I like your quality, goods are okay, I've used it, but I don't have the money to pay for it. He'll give you a quality claim, and there goes your ECGC claim, and there goes your factoring. So therefore, factoring has a problem as far as the without recourse is concerned. It's still being worked on. There is no specific answer for that. Even though everybody says that there is a without recourse factoring, in actual practice, when you actually go, you see the documents, you see everything, you sign everything, you suddenly realize there is one small thing that if there is a quality claim, it doesn't apply. So that's the second one in the export promotion policy, that mission that they have, which they want to give. Basically, I think government, in terms of fiscal benefit, I don't see anything in the budget. What they can possibly give would be some sort of an ease of doing business, and basically trying to make sure that your GST blockage is not there, because GST is a fairly large component, 18 or 12 or 18 is more like the medium level, which is everybody is paying. In steel, it's 18. So ease of doing business would be what you can expect from the government. Fiscal subsidy, no.
Right. And anything on trade finance, like Nisha talked about? You think that? Right.
The export promotion mission is there. The trade finance is basically, they have introduced that. I think there are banks have onboarded onto that scheme where banks are taking ECGC cover, and they are covered to the export loan PS and PC for to the extent of 85%. That scheme is already on by the Ministry of Commerce. And as a result of which, we have proposed to the bankers, and I've been sitting on many committees of the banks, that at least your collateral should go down. You see, when I argued with the banks, generally speaking, previously the ECGC coverage was up to 60%, right? And therefore the banks had put in a collateral of roughly 40%. This is what the banks normally ask for. I'm talking purely from an MSME point of view. And what happened was that when the coverage of ECGC went up from 60 to 85% in the government scheme, the collateral still remained at 40%. I don't think any of our companies have got back some collateral just because we have got. And as you all know, the pre-shipment ECGC premium is paid by the borrower. It's not paid by the bank. I mean, there are some few private banks who don't take ECGC cover, but they cover it, I mean, some way or the other. It's part of their business strategy. But all the nationalized banks and all the cooperative banks are taking ECGC cover, and they're charging the pre-shipment premium to the borrower. So we have recommended that at least this is the coverage that you are getting for your safety. At least don't charge the pre-shipment commission to us. We are trying to get that implemented. So let's see if that does, maybe it will help a lot of borrowers that at least the post-shipment anyway bank is paying, but pre-shipment it is charged to the borrower. So if we can get that done, it's in process, we can possibly get that help for the borrower.
Right. Marsvi, coming to away from finance, one way of thinking is that forget about US as a market, reduce the dependence on the US, look at other countries. Take, for example, EU as a bloc. Look at the African countries, maybe more with Southeast Asia. How do you see that? Or is US as a market and an economy doing too well for us to ignore in any case?
I would say both. Fact is that all said and done, US is still 18% of our merchandise exports. That's a large number. I believe it will be similar in the case of EU, probably 18-20. So these are two large claimants upon on the export basket that we have. Plus, our services exports to a large extent go to the US. The US cannot be discounted, absolutely. But and coming back to the Europe, I'll come there. Even in this tariff scenario, I think especially MSMEs and some of the sectors where there are certain things which awareness of which will probably make things easier for you, like in the field of textiles. If you deal with valuation as per the law of the US, you probably can shave off some part of the value so that even with increased duties, you probably can stay at the same price level. There is this concept called first sale for export, which is peculiar to the US and a few countries. India does not implement that. So there are, apart from those tricks of the trade, yes, we cannot ignore the US, but there is definitely a very strong case for spreading our wings and looking at more markets, maybe deepening our markets. European Union, we already export a lot of goods there. As I see the geopolitics and the way many European countries are warming up to India, probably they also feel the need of a coalition build. And one of the thoughts that is floating in many circles is that, fine, if the USA wants to ignore the World Trade Organization, it does not want to play by the rules because it is probably the mightiest economy in the world. Can the rest of the world agree that, well, we will play by the rules and we will be a part of this rules-based system, which we will strengthen? I think there is a good enough case for that. Because if India thinks that we'll find a way out of this mess by having as many bilateral trade treaties as possible, that is probably not practicable, according to me. I've been a customs officer in part of my previous life. It is not very easy for you to claim, free trade agreement benefits, and especially after this new set of rules called Karotar, which some of you might be aware of, came about 4 or 5 years back. And that's one part of it. But the second part is that all said and done, the benefits that you can get in a bilateral trade agreement or a regional trade agreement is as good as the intentions of the parties involved. But there is no enforcement mechanism. Ultimately, if the parties together decide to violate it, the agreement is dead letter. So ultimately, we have to strengthen the multilateral rules-based system because that is what is going to make trade predictable. I mean, we have seen in the past 3 decades that the largest reduction of poverty across the globe has happened. That's something that we cannot deny. China has pulled out a huge number of people out of poverty, so has India. And why has that happened? That has happened because of predictability of world trade, which has driven prosperity. And how has that predictability happened? It has happened because of the multilateral trading system. It has so happened that globalization has also created losers, probably in the lower middle class of the USA, which has driven much of this angst and therefore the political stance that tariffs probably will attract industry back to them. So I agree with you that yes, we need to look at more and more markets. Yes, Africa, we need to deepen our presence. ASEAN, we already have a fair amount of engagement. We also have a free trade agreement. But probably diversification of the market and a conscious, deliberate effort in that direction needs to be taken. seeing as to how we can maximize the advantages of existing free trade agreements and reduce the technical barriers to trade and the NTBs. That is, I believe, key if we want to deepen our presence in other markets.
Right. So we're running out of time. Last question to Anil, Nisha. The question remains the same: is that if you're looking for policy support from the government or direction from the government, we had the Minister for External Affairs say yesterday that tariffs, it will be there, so we cannot hide away from it. If you're looking for support, what would that be?
Well, to be honest, I would rather like to draw the attention of the audience present here of two very important things. One is that we should lower our expectations from the manufacturing, and we should have an objective understanding of the size of the manufacturing in it. So MSME portal says that we have around 8 crore enterprises. And by the way, how many industrial connections are there in the country? Can you throw me a figure? 8 crore enterprises are there. How many industrial connections? 35 lakh. That's all. So that's the size. And again, if you try to find out the factories employing more than 10 people, what is the number you should think you're having? 250,000. This number is one mohalla of Guangzhou. Seriously. Go to Guangzhou, you'll have 250,000 in one mohalla. And you have Shanghai, you have central China, you have Beijing area. So, we have to understand the kind of competition that we have in manufacturing, which is not there in the services. These are two different things. So a manufacturer of scissors will have global competition right from the day one. Chinese scissor can come. But the hairdresser is not going to have the competition. No Chinese hairdresser is coming to cut the hair. So this difference we have to first understand. In order to make manufacturing competitive, we have to take very strategic, strong, and willful decisions. We have to decide that if we want to really cater to the domestic, we want to be domestic oriented only. Of course, we could have that strategy. But if we want to export, if we want to compete globally, then we have to have very different strategy. One just small figure. You take any serious export player, it is spending 2 to 5% of the total export. Take anybody. China, Japan, South Korea, 2 to 5%. India is exporting goods range of $450 billion. 2% of which is approximately $8 billion. 8 billion, if we convert, how much would that be? Around 60,000 plus crore. What is the total size of the total budget of the Ministry of Commerce? And the total scheme is less than 5,000 crore. So we are having very big dreams with very small sum of resources and commitment towards this. We don't walk the talk. We talk too much. So I think either we should slow down, bring down our ambitions a bit, or we should raise our resources and we should be able to walk the talk.
Right. Nisha?
I think Ajay's articulated it so well, there's nothing left to say. Resources have to be put in. Also what you're saying, giving the numbers of the amount of money that the government is willing to spend, we can't do anything unless the government really wakes up and sees the kind of challenge that lies ahead. 45% of global manufacturing is expected to be supplied by China alone by 2030, and 2030 is just around the corner. So it's like act now, not tomorrow. It's like right now. So, and it can only be done through resources and by creating an enabling environment for the firms to survive. So that support has to be given. And whatever the government can do, should do, and what the firms can do, they will do anyway.
Right. Pankaj, staying with you, if you want to add on to that, you're free to do that.
See, let's face the fact. We have 2250 crores. That's all we have. If you're looking at the numbers of road tap and you're looking at the ROSTL, then the numbers are much bigger, right? But those are different schemes, right? I can go into that numbers. If we add up those numbers, we'll come up to 50,000 crores. But the question is, those are actually, now road tap is basically what you have already taken from the exporter by virtue of state levies, unrebatable. So therefore, that is not a incentive. If you are talking of an incentive, the government is very clear. And I can say it with this thing because I sit with all in the government meetings. If they will not incentivize any export, they are very clear. They said we can give you an enabling requirement, but you have to be on your own feet. There is no provision in the government policy, thinking, or budget to give any fiscal benefit for export. We have tried even for income tax. The erstwhile ATHHC was there. There was no possibility. We even went into talking to them for, like I'll give you an example. When I had made the presentation with the finance minister before the budget. And this is, we're talking of December, peak Delhi, peak fog, stubble burning, the whole works. And it was on that one very dreary 11 o'clock morning, with the finance minister, the meeting and her team. So I told her that we are talking about MSMEs. You are talking of the fact that what we want is clean energy, green energy. So the only thing that an MSME unit can do is put a rooftop solar. That's all we can reasonably do. We don't want a subsidy, but at least give us a tax break on it. What we had requested was 100% depreciation on solar, on investment in solar, rooftop solar. I don't think it came in the budget, but we are still pursuing it, that because when they wanted to incentivize wind, there was 150% incentive, incentive on this thing, not incentive, a tax break, right? So that's why you had people who were not connected, also film stars and sports stars having windmills. And you have a lot of them still, because there was a tax break of 150%. So I pointed out and I said, okay, if that tax break is there, at least for rooftop solar, for MSME, okay, let's break the MSME down to manufacturing MSME. Right? For a manufacturing MSME, at least give us 100% depreciation. So one, he gets into clean energy. He gets an incentive to just invest, is this thing. But so far it's not there, but we will keep trying. We also had another proposal for the government, as you see, and I'm talking with reference to MSMEs because maybe it's a subject that's dear to my heart. A lot of MSMEs are not corporates. The rate of corporate income tax is 25%. But MSMEs are either partnerships or LLPs or sole proprietorship, where the tax after basically is about 35%, 30% plus surcharge plus this thing, it comes to about 35%. So our request was to the finance minister is that basically the problem is that the MSME does not have enough capital. The shortage of capital is what it is. So can you at least have manufacturing MSMEs who are manufacturing to have who are not corporates, but who are LLP, partnership or proprietaries, to have a tax of 25%. So that extra 10%, they can at least, and with a rider, that they plow it back into the business. So at least they have the extra 10% to put back into the business of their own equity, so they don't have to borrow. They'll borrow less or they will expand better. But so far, that's also not in the budget. So all I can say is we keep trying, but the government has different views.
Right. Balaji, last question to you. You've heard everyone, you have your views. What does it do to our export target? 2 trillion by 2030 or thereabouts. What does it do to our export target? Does it still look achievable? I mean, it can be on, I think, on services alone. But what do you think?
Well, I think this is a very good forum to echo the Commerce Minister's own words. Said that, every challenge can be converted into an opportunity. So this is definitely a challenge, the unpredictability of tariffs, but it gives us the opportunity of coalition building in the rest of the world. So that's opportunity number one. Second is, we are also seeing certain potential disruptions, which I actually don't feel are disruptions, but many are looking at them in that manner, like the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, CBAM. Truly speaking, I would say, in my personal view, environment trumps everything, whether it is trade, whether it is, because ultimately it's an existential matter for humanity. And this itself can be a huge driver of growth for India, because you create a carbon credits market by not only afforestation, by immense investment into renewable energy. So not only do you meet your renewable energy targets, you create a carbon credits market, you also overcome CBAM. So with a fair amount of initiative, some intelligent coalition building, and I would say not retaliating, engaging with the rest of the world, including USA, if we don't achieve the target of 2 trillion exports, probably we can come near to it. That's what I would say.
Right. I think that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much, panel members. I think what's certain is that there will be a lot of uncertainty, and we'll have to just wait and see what happens next. Thank you so much.
A pleasure.
Thank you, members of the panel, and thank you, Pran. I think they need a photo op with all the panelists on stage. If I can ask my colleagues to remove the chairs in the meantime. If you can just step forward for the photographs, that'll help. Thank you once again, panelists. Thank you, Pran. All right, it's time to move on to our next award categories. To give away the next set of awards, may I call on stage Mr. Anil Bharadwaj, jury member, Ms. Chandrima Chatterjee, Secretary General CITI, and Shirish Mathur, Head of SME Products and Digital Platforms at Aditya Birla Finance. Mr. Bharadwaj, Ms. Chatterjee, and Mr. Mathur, can we have you on stage? Thank you for being with us. Our next award category is the MSME Enabler Award for Banking and Finance. And here are the nominees. As you can see, plenty of nominees in this category. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, from this list of nominees is Mind Solutions Private Limited. Can we have you on stage? Mind Solutions, I have a quick question for you. Would any of you like to answer it? Can I request you to step this way? You know, they say success is a question of mind over matter. Does that apply at Mind Solutions?
Yeah. So as the name also suggests, the brand name is Mind. So everything is related to mind only.
All right, congratulations, Mind Solutions. Right, with that, let's move on to our next category. It's the MSME Enabler Award for Tech and Innovation, and here are the nominees. Yeah. So Tally has nearly 80% market share or 80+% market share. In a country with so much digital competition, digital disruption, How come you still have 80% market share? What's the secret?
Thank you. So I would like to answer this question by saying that since we have been working on customer centricity and making our product as simple as it can, so no need to have any accounting background or be an expert of a finance. This is what we think we have been humbled to get such a big support from our consumers that we have been number one, or you can say 70-80% market share holder, even after almost 40 years being in the industry. So this is what we thank to all our consumers, our partners, the complete ecosystem. And we feel even more inspired by receiving this award to be more innovative in future for all our ecosystem partners. Thank you.
Congratulations, Tally. Thank you, presenters. Thank you very much. May I request you to take your seats? Thank you for doing the honors. Brings us to our next category, the fastest growing SME micro. And here are the nominees. To give away the next set of awards, may I call on stage Satya Manjula, Deputy GM, New India Assurance, and Shantanu Basu, Head SME at Aditya Birla Finance. Can we have you on stage? All right, in their place, may I invite Deepak and Pran to take their place on stage. Deepak Ajwani and Rakesh, can we have you on stage, please, to take their place? All right, the winner, fastest growing MSME micro, and the winner is Della Grain Foods Private Limited. Della Grain, can we have you on stage? So Della Grains, the question for you is this. Give us 2 grains of wisdom that you have learned in all these years of running a business.
Running a business. Running a business isn't easy. It comes with its ups and downs. But I believe the 2 things I've learned from running this business, perseverance and a lot of consistent hard work. Because the ups and downs may come, but without perseverance and consistent hard work, I probably think we wouldn't be where we are today. So that's my 2 grains. Thank you.
We wish you much more success in the years to come. Our next category is fastest growing MSME small, and here are the nominees. So we have 6 nominees in this category. Any guesses who the prize is going to go to? The winner is ABPL International AITMC Ventures Limited. Yeah, so there's a saying in business that says you can have it right or you can have it now, but you can't have it right now, right? So you're both fast growing and you're award winning. How do you pull off this contradiction?
So I believe when you grow and when you have to grow fast, then we believe in expansion and we do believe in collaborations. And yeah, we little compromise on efficiency, but we do work on that. Yeah.
All right, that's an honest statement. Thank you very much and congratulations, AVPL. That brings us to our next award category, the fastest growing MSME medium. And here are the nominees. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Sudeep Nutrition Private Limited. Team Sudeep, can we have you on stage? Right, so you're in the nutrition business, so I'm assuming you are a pretty healthy guy yourself? You do look like it. So what is your cheat meal? What does your cheat day look like?
Being in the nutrition business, I don't advise to have cheat meals usually, but yeah, pizza now and then is a good meal to have, definitely.
All right, we have an excellent dinner waiting for you after this award ceremony, so cheat a little bit for us. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, Pran, for being with us. I'm going to request my colleagues to bring a couple of chairs onto stage for the last discussion of the day. May I first invite Deepak Ajwani back onto stage to chair this discussion. And to join Deepak, I'm going to invite back onto stage Mr. Rakesh Singh, MD and CEO, Aditya Birla Finance, onto stage. Deepak, I did mention dinner and drinks a little while ago, so you have 15 minutes for your discussion. Over to you.
Thank you. It won't take more than 15 minutes for sure, because we equally want that nutritious meal as well as the drinks alongside. So thanks a lot. We'll keep this chat bilingual. थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बोलेंगे, कुछ अंग्रेजी भी झाड़ेंगे. A combo of that. You're in the business of lending, and we heard the minister, NPA मात्र 1% है. तो इतने सारे जो MSME यहाँ बैठे हैं, उनका दर्द ये है कि पैसा देने के टाइम जो लेंडर है वो सब कुछ टटोलता है. They check for books, check for credit history, they check for return capability. What is the extra layer of checks that you at your company deploy which makes it easier to lend for you?
So I won't get into 1% NPA. The NPA at the industry level is much higher. So
which they'll also happily admit कि हाँ यार default थोड़ा ज़्यादा है.
Yeah, so won't go there. But in terms of, I think if you see, things are changing. Over the last 7-8 years, things are changing. A lot of formalization of economy which is happening. So आप देखिए पिछले 7-8 साल से post demonetization, use of digital, GST, now with Udyam, everything, things are getting formalized. And it makes life easier for a lending institution like us, or for that matter, any other lending institution. When you have a credible credit history or credible documents in terms of on which you can assess the eligibility and give the loan, it becomes life easier for the lending institutions. Because we are in the business for long run. और जब हम लोन देते हैं तो हम लोन देते हैं 3 साल का, 5 साल का, 10 साल का. And I think at that point in time, we don't know how the cash flows will look like or what will, because we work in a very volatile world. There can be changes, external impacts, which we really can't forecast. So it's very, very important that we select customers which has good credit history, has good documentation, good cash flows. So uske basis ke upar we decide. And that's how we really look at. In terms of आपका question कि हम क्या करते हैं थोड़ा differently. So we are a MSME focused NBFC. Close to 60% of our loan book is to the MSME sector. So almost 66,000 crores of our loan book is to the MSME sector. This sector, where we are sitting and discussing this sector. So clearly 66%,
1,000 crore.
1,000 crore is our MSME loan book. When you look at MSME is, we classify everything together. So if you look at and peel this, so you have a medium, then you have small, then you have micro. So a lot of credit is available to the medium and the small because the banks lend it, but majority of the MSMEs are micro in nature. It's almost 95% of the MSMEs are micro in nature and their needs are very micro in terms of small ticket loans. And for that, what we have done is we have built a digital platform, our B2B platform, which we have built, where we have built a digital loan journey. So once a customer applies, everything goes seamlessly and smoothly. So there is no manual interface in terms of or asking for more documentation or anything like that. There are scorecards which has been built, and on the basis of that scorecard, the customer is approved, and then it goes to, and if the documentation is done online, which is e-sign, e-nudge, then the disbursement can be done immediately. So that's clearly a differentiation which we have created, that micro businesses, small businesses, and their needs are small. How do we create a simple journey and completely seamless journey so that they can really access it through their mobile, through web, and through omni-channel, they can reach out to us and we can give them the loan. That's a clear differentiation which we have built on our platform.
On your platform. You know, in the previous panel, there was enough talk of should you even bother about entering manufacturing, services is better off, and we'll be able to beat China on the back of services. When you're lending, is there a differentiator that you apply either by virtue of percentage or by virtue of the kind of business? Do you favor more services led MSMEs or do you favor more manufacturing? And is there a reason why you would do so if you do so?
No, so we don't differentiate between a manufacturing or a services. Every industry has a different cash flows and the cycles and all, and on the basis of that, which we have built our scorecards, our parameters on which we assess the customer. So there is no differentiation in terms of, and at an economy level, manufacturing is also important, services are also important. Manufacturing provides you job creation and all of that. So I think we don't differentiate in every industry, in every sectors. There are lendable customers, there are where we cannot provide credit. So in all segments, we look at where our risk parameters fits in, and as per our risk appetite, we can provide loans to these customers. So clearly, jin customers ko, matlab, there are cash flows and there are.
So if their books are correct, doesn't matter manufacturing or services. If your
Yes.
books are correct, you have good credit history, you're eligible.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yes.
When it comes to specifically manufacturing, in your past experience, which kind of manufacturing companies that you've lent money to have been better off when it comes to repayment cycles as well as building a credible history? The reason why I'm asking is, coming from a personal example of mine, I went for a personal housing loan. And I was told by the banker कि हमारे 3P formula है, press, police और politician, इनको बहुत मुश्किल से हम लोन देते हैं और देते हैं तो बहुत high interest देते हैं. So I asked him why. I said तुम तीनों हम पे कुछ भी कर सकते हो. मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ मंत्री जी चले गए तो इसलिए मैं politician भी बता रहा हूँ. But genuinely this happened to me कि press वाले कुछ भी लिख देंगे, politician का भी कोई भरोसा नहीं और पुलिस तो हमारे पे धावा बोलती है तो हम नहीं देते. So this was genuinely told to me on my face. That doctors are the safest, हम उनको सस्ते सस्ता लोन देते हैं, बहुत भरोसेमंद कैटेगरी है. But when it comes to manufacturing, what has been your experience? I'm not saying कि आप apply करते हो कि नहीं, but experience में क्या आता है?
You have to see it that through the cycle, every industry goes through a cycle. And what looks good today does not look tomorrow because there is a commodity price pressure, and we heard what comes from China, tariff, all of that.
The risk element is different in
Is
different.
different in different cycles. So I don't want to generalize ki which manufacturing sector has performed better and all. Across different time frames, people, and that's the reason I mentioned that we look at customers or industries which has decent cash flows, repayment capability, and that's how we assess. So we are industry or segment agnostic. Quality is what we look at in terms of how we can really assess those credits.
Okay. GST was one thing that virtually came out of the blue for a lot of people, and that imposed kind of right form of bookkeeping. Because as a result of GST that was, decided by the government, and then every single small, micro, every single industry had to straighten up their books. Because अगर input tax credit चाहिए तो आपको पहले सारे हिसाब किताब ठीक रखने होंगे. Which became a boon for a lot of lenders like you, because then at least आपके लिए due diligence बहुत आसान हो गई. यार इसकी books ठीक ठाक हैं, because of GST उसने ठीक ठाक काम किया. That was a policy move. What kind of other policy moves that you think should be adopted by the government that makes it easier for MSMEs to borrow from lenders like you?
So if you look at digital payments, the adoption of digital payments across different segments of the industry, even if you look at a small vendor now accepts and makes payment in digital. So you create a transactional history of that customer. So clearly that's one. You mentioned about the GST. Credit bureau. So if you look at credit bureau on the consumer side has evolved quite and has become quite strong. On this, if you compare that with the commercial bureau, that's also evolving and it will get strengthened. And so a lot of comfort will be derived from these things as a lender. And also, if you look at if you're participating in the large ecosystem and especially from a cash flow point of view, working capital point of view, to which corporate or anchor you are supplying to. So we really play into the working capital cycle. So invoice. So if you have supplied to some corporate, we can discount that and give you the money immediately. Or you have purchased from a corporate and you will be able to sell it over the next 3 months, 6 months. We can discount that. So that really helps ease the working capital cycle of these small SMEs. So all of this, and as more and more data is available, I think it will become life much more easier. And also in terms of the government, since you asked, the digital e-commerce platform, ONDC, which has been built, though it's still early days and we don't see too much of throughput, but we are one of the NBFCs who has integrated on this platform. So clearly the sellers on this platform, if they want, we will be able to finance their sales. Oken is another one. So DPIs have been built. I think now more and more throughput has to come on these platforms. So the domination of one large e-commerce player and all, or two large e-commerce players, now the data and information will be more democratized. So you will be able to, or any lending institution will be able to assess all of this information and really arrive at.
So you're saying digitization helps
hugely.
So in a sense, companies like Tally Solutions have actually given a major fillip to digitization, because if accounting is made easy and digitized, is trackable, and for you to be able to decode all the patterns and thereby create a credit history is something that becomes easier.
Completely.
When it comes to the ecosystem of MSME, what is it that you think you already do but needs more to be done to build an entire ecosystem? क्योंकि एक MSME चलाने के लिए सिर्फ पैसे की जरूरत नहीं होती है. There is manpower that is required, right? There is supply chain and logistics that is required. There is labor policies that is required. So what do you think in terms of this ecosystem? Where is it that your company can play a role, or other people in your fraternity of lending can play a role in building the ecosystem?
So as you mentioned, I think for the MSME, or for that matter, any industry, I think there is certain role which a government has to play in terms of compliance and rules, make ease of doing business. All of that is there. From a lender's point of view, how do we really understand their working capital needs, their expansion needs, and assess their needs and customize a product and give it when they want it? What happens for a small businesses when they have the order book and the loan gets approved after 2 months? What do you do? So I think the speed of making credit available also is important. And it's just not the credit in terms of their day-to-day working. They need accounting, and as you mentioned, the tally. I think so. What we do is on our this platform, which is a 360 degree platform, which we have tried to create, Udyog Plus. On this, apart from the digital journeys, other needs, if they want to ensure their workshop or their shop, we provide protection to these MSMEs. If they want to invest the surplus cash flow, we have the investment options on this platform. So, and also accounting, payroll solutions. So we bring all these value-added services on this platform so the MSMEs don't have to go all over to really.
So it's a one-stop shop.
One-stop.
यहाँ आके समझ लो कि और what are the other options that you can.
बिल्कुल. So मतलब कोशिश यही है कि मतलब जितनी उनकी needs हैं on day-to-day working, we bring it on this platform. And also दूसरी चीज है कि मतलब creating awareness in terms of that there is facility that you can avail of loan, and that's the reason why we are partnering with credible institutions like yours, Economic Times, that we create awareness. We created some 12 in 12 cities. We created these the same format, and today is the culmination in terms of understanding what their needs are. And how do we create awareness, not only from what we can provide, but what are the government policies are, what are the credit guarantees are, and the small business owners can avail of these facilities as we go along.
Okay. I'm going to take this opportunity. I haven't discussed this with him, but here is a lender who is ready to give money. Can I have 2 questions from people and give us a sense of their experience of borrowing? दर्द बता सकते हो, but इनको दोष मत देना, he's still ready for it. But I just want to get a sense from, because, you guys have gone through the journey of borrowing. For him also, it will be important to understand कि पैसे लेने के टाइम जब आप जाते हैं तो क्या होता है और क्या solutions निकल सकते हैं. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm spraying this surprise, but is there a mic that we can, yeah.
नहीं आणि देर आर अपॉर्चुनिटी डिफिकल्टी तो है ही है, और मेनली जो प्रॉब्लम है जो इंटरेस्ट रेट का, यानी जो स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम जो डेवलप हुई है लास्ट भी बना, तो स्टार्टअप जो 10,000 करोड़ का सेल के लिए 1,000 करोड़ का लॉस कर देते हैं, उनके लिए इन्वेस्टर और मेंटर रेडी है. लेकिन जो स्मॉल कंपनी MSME है जो 15 साल से प्रॉफिट कर रही है, उनके लिए कोई इन्वेस्टर और मेंटर नहीं है. What MSME need now is a mentor investor. So investor जो mentor भी करे उनको grow करने के लिए, और investment जो ऐसा हो, आप ये international में export में हम लोगों को compete करना है, 9% 10% interest rate पे कैसे compete करेंगे? You need to have a inventory to service the global market. अगर आप inventory लेके चल रहे हैं और pricing का fluctuation है, कैसे आपको 9% इंटरेस्ट पे अगर 3 महीना आपने कैरी किया तो आपकी 3% के या 2% तो कॉस्ट हो गई.
So what you are addressing is patient capital. जिस तरह स्टार्टअप को पैसे दे के बोलते हैं कि भूल जाएंगे 4-6 साल, उस तरह का. That's something for the government to do, but that's what Mr. Khandelwal has asked. So I assure you that we'll compile all the pain points and give him, because that's what he's asked for.
Not only investor, that investor should be a mentor also, because small company needs a hand holding support who can guide them to grow.
Right. Good. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your input. Anyone else? We're just looking for inputs. That's about it. Anyone?
Yeah, hi. This is Nilesh Laddad. I have just sharing an experience with a business loan. We took a business loan in 2017, and we had given certain projections for the business. When you give a loan, you take sufficient collaterals to cover your loan values. That's for sure. We had given certain projections. The projections didn't match. The rate of interest of the loan kept on increasing. And some consultants told me now the bank doesn't want you in the books. That's why they are increasing the loan. See, I'm suffering. I'm not able to meet my projections. I'm bleeding, and the rate of interest is going up. You already have the collaterals. I'm paying your EMIs. Why do you increase the interest?
Okay. Not directly directed to you, but is that a practice that risk mitigation ke liye, the interest rate starts going up because the projections aren't being met? I mean, ये startups के साथ भी होता है by the way.
No, so मैं उनका भी question लेता हूँ, मैं इनका भी question लूँगा. See, that's the reason we need to create business models which are innovative, which is solving for some. And the moment you create a business model, there will be a lot of private equity which will come and will mentor and will give you capital so that you can burn the capital in terms of customer acquisition or building or solutioning. आपने बोला 9% का इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है नहीं सस्टेनेबल है. अगर आप देखिए इंडिया में इन्फ्लेशन ही 5 से 6% है. आप डिपॉजिट पे 7%, 7 to 8% आपका डिपॉजिट रेट्स है, मतलब इंटरेस्ट है. उस इकोनॉमी में 9% is a very affordable rate. Yes, when you are saying when you are competing with the global market, then that 9% is not. And that's the reason why in the earlier panel you heard export credit guarantees are there and subsidies which government is providing for the exports. There are challenges, I'm not saying no. But we have to look at the ecosystem, the environment, the economy, the Indian economy, the inflation which we have. In a country where you have 5-6% inflation, 9% is not very high interest rate.
And the cost of borrowing from the repo rate is at 6.5 almost.
Which is the point which I'm mentioning. In terms of your point that you took the loan, see, pricing is done. See it from a lender's point of view, and that you are giving a loan for 3 years, 5 years, as I was mentioning. We don't have a sight in terms of how the business will look like or the cash flows will look like. So there is a risk involved in terms of when you give the loan. Yeah, and this is a 4-5% margin business. It's not 10-20% margin business. So if we want to be in business, it has to be sustainable over a period of time. So we have to ensure that the credit cost and the NPAs are within the range. So that's the reason. But pricing is an outcome of credit, grade, credit profile, and all of that. And you mentioned that the interest rate started going up. Normally, people don't do it, lending institutions. But if the interest rate is going up, if you see in the last 2 years, RBI increased the rate of interest by 240 basis points. So if the input cost is going up, you are also in business. If your input cost is going up, obviously you will pass it on to your customer. So that's how the interest rate starts going up. And I'm not getting into the specific of your case, whether that institution really pushed the pricing so that you can start looking for different avenues to transfer the loan. I really don't know. But when the input cost goes up, the output will, and you will pass on that to your customer. Otherwise, you're not there in the business. So that's how it really works. And it works, the pricing depends. Pricing is as fine as 8.5% for home loans to 18% or 20%, depending on which customer segment and what is the risk profile. And on all the loans and collateral also you mentioned, these were all the facilities which we were talking about as collateral-free loans. So there was no collateral. The digital journeys which we have built, these are all collateral-free loans is what we have built for the micro business owners.
Right. Thanks. The attempt here was not to challenge you, but to get a sense from the room that, लोगों के दर्द क्या होते हैं, because for us, if we've traveled with you over last 6 cities, we're also picking up learnings. कि होता क्या है इस business में, and then eventually how do we solve for it? One last question. There's so much talk of AI. How does AI play a role, if it does, in your business?
AI will play a very important role and is already playing, especially right now in servicing. Most of our servicing is getting done by bots. So if you look at banks have adopted, we have adopted. So right now it's more Gen AI. As we go along, agentic AI is what we are talking about. So every customer can be given an agent who will assist in terms of, so a lot of work is happening on that front. If you see over the last couple of years, the big giants in the tech, global giants have invested hugely in the AI. Now the usage is now coming up. And I must tell you, the entire processing, whether the loan application to underwriting, a lot of it will get into AI models. And if not decision making, but decision assist, sales assist, everything, machine can give a summarization of what the output should be, and you should approve, not approve, whatever. The recommendation can be given by the machine. And then depending on what model you want to adopt, there will be eyeballing, or a credit underwriter can override that or can go
So
along
it'll
with
improvise on the productivity or the time, as they call it.
Hugely,
right?
hugely.
Turnaround time will improve.
Yeah, and the ease also, because if I have the customer's PAN number, basis that, one can really pull out all the information and you don't have to provide several documentation, several KYC documents. You can pull out, you can really create automated credit approval memos, as we call it.
Is there a concept of pre-approved loan? हम लोग को सबको SMS आ जाता है कि आपके पास pre-approved home loan है. Is there something like that for MSMEs? Pre-approved?
Yes, there is. There is. So, what is a pre-approved? See, we have built a scorecard that this customer is good. Yeah? So, for those customers, our existing customer base, or whatever database which we have, we run our scorecard on that customer base and say, oh, this is good, good, good. So all of those customers will get a pre-approved. There is something called pre-qualified. So for a pre-qualified, the customer is good, but we need additional documents. Ask for additional documents. So there are different ways of reaching out and making things easier. So if it's a pre-approved, I think the life is much, much easier. You don't have to provide the income documents and too many documents, and you can go ahead with the loan.
ABFL का stall बाहर है. Pre-approved की application डाल देते. ठीक है. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank you
Rakesh.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Thank you, Deepak. Now, this brings us to our next category of awards. It's Top Innovative MSME of the Year, Micro, and here are the nominees. To give away this next set of awards, may I call on stage Mr. Pankaj Chadda, Chairman EEPC, and Mr. Raju Goel, Secretary General, Elsina. Thank you, gentlemen. And the winner of the Top Innovative MSME of the Year in the micro category is Janitri Innovations. Team Janitri, can we have you on stage? Hi, if I can ask you a quick question. Every company in the world says they're innovative, right? But you actually won an award for it. So what makes Janitri different from other companies?
Thank you. Yeah, so Janitri itself is a Sanskrit word of mother, and we actually making innovative medical devices in India which can save lives during pregnancy, labor, and newborn. So we are literally saving lives because of the innovation. Thank you.
Congratulations, Janitri. Continue your good work. Our next category is Top Innovative MSME of the Year, Small, and here are the nominees. Five nominees, and the winner in this category is Swachh Sustainable Solutions Private Limited. Team Swachh, can we have you on stage? I can hold that for you if you like. According to you, who's the most innovative person in the world?
Wow, that's a good question. But I, as a person, really appreciate Elon Musk. He's one of my, that's one of my favorite books also is autobiography of Elon Musk. I think just the vision that he comes with and just the way he goes about his entire journey where the vision as well as the perseverance, putting in everything and really believing in your idea. So for me, it's Elon Musk.
All right, congratulations. Our next category is Top Innovative MSME of the Year, Medium, and here are the nominees. And the winner in this category is TechnoSurge Industries Private Limited. Hi, so the question for you is AI related and it's about my job actually. So next time this year, do you think I'll still be here or a robot will be doing my job?
I think this is the 5th edition. We wish to see you till 25th edition.
Thank you very much and congrats, TechnoSurge. Thank you, Mr. Chadda and Mr. Goel. Thank you for doing the honors. Our next category is MSME of the Year, Services, and here are the nominees. May I call on Satya Manjula, DGM, the New India Assurance Company Limited, Ms. Nidhi Bhasin, CEO, Digital Green Trust, and Shantanu Basu, Head of SME at Aditya Birla Finance Limited, to give away the next set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have all of you on stage? All right, the winner of the MSME of the Year Service is Planage Consultants Private Limited. Yeah, so Team Planage, can I have you here for a quick question? So you have a plan and you have an edge. That's why your team is planned. So what's your plan and what's your edge for world dominance?
Okay. Planet stands for planned management. So we are into management consulting for construction division. And the plan is to take over world in construction. We have been world leaders in construction. We have the best structures of the world, which are ancient, 100 years back. We need to do that again. So in a few years, we'll be there.
Congratulations, Plan Edge. Our next category is MSME of the Year Manufacturing, and here are the nominees. Four nominees in this category, and the winner is Kalyani Cast Tech. Team Kalyani, can we have you on stage? Yeah, Team Kalyani, can I have you here for a quick Q&A? What's the most difficult thing about manufacturing?
The most difficult thing is getting the customer in the manufacturing. Let me tell you, that is the most difficult.
Money from the customer?
No, money is also there, but getting customer is the first most difficult thing for us, especially in manufacturing. Let me tell you something about our company. Basically, we are into the container manufacturing, which is predominantly being done in China, Chinese companies. They make almost 95% of the containers. We took these plans in 2021, and we took that courage and you can say challenge that we'll make containers in India. So in 2021, this segment of the manufacturing was hardly 5 to 6 crore rupees in India. And at this point of time in 25 ending, this will be around 300 crore rupees segment in India. And this has got potential to go up to almost $2 to $3 billion in next 4 or 5 years if government supports us through what the Chinese companies get from the government, like the productivity linked incentives. Recently, Honorable Prime Minister was in France, and he met with one of the biggest shipping line who uses containers, that is CMA-CGM. He met the president of that company, and that president asked if we get containers only from China. And our Prime Minister marketed for us. He said that we can make your containers in India. Please come to us. Their India president called me. That is the basically brief from the Prime Minister's office that we wanted to have some orders on the containers. He said, welcome. So you are our customer. So these are the basically, we need little bit support from the government. So that, and this is a sector which is basically labor intensive sector. So by if we say $1 billion this thing, we can have almost 100,000 labor with us. And so that's a great opportunity for India as these people are talking about the tariff and all. So this can offset to some extent. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Kalyani. Our next category is MSME of the Year Trading, and here are the nominees. All right, you've seen the nominees, and the winner is Quality Chrome Private Limited. Team Quality Chrome, can we have you on stage? Right, quick question for you. Tell me one thing that builds quality and one thing that destroys quality in the trading business.
Trust can destroy as well as build quality in the business. If you are confident in your product, and supply good quality products to your customer, it will build confidence. And if somewhere you made mistake, it can destroy it. That's
One answer for both questions. Trust, you can build it or break it. Congratulations, Quality Chrome. Thank you, presenters, for doing the honors. Thank you very much. This brings us to the final set of awards at the ET MSME Awards. Our next category is Top Exporter of the Year, Manufacturing, and here are the nominees. May I invite Mr. Gaurav Kedia, Chairman IBA, and Mr. Abhay Sinha, DG SEPC, to give away this set of awards. All right, the award for the top exporter manufacturing is Romsons International. Team Romsons, can we have you? Yes, so Shami Kapoor sang Taarif Kya Karu uski. Now Donald Trump is singing Tariff Kitna Karu iski. So what does the outlook for your company look like in the tariff era?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
What does the outlook for your company look like for the next 2-3 years with tariffs and all that's coming our way?
I think medical device is a growing sector, so I don't think we will be impacted so much with the for our industry. Yeah, but I have to say you're very innovative with your questions. It's really hard to figure out what you're going to ask.
Finally, I get a compliment. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next category. It's Top Exporter of the Year, Service, and here are the nominees. And the winner for Top Exporter Service of the Year is Asian Consulting Engineers Private Limited. Yeah, there's a quick question for you before you go off stage. You know, everybody keeps worrying about AI is going to take away our jobs. As a consultant, I want you to tell me, how can I take away AI's job?
You need to be more innovative. Yes, and you need to be more faster, and your job is to think more and better, because we are humans. That is artificial, we are natural.
All right, so be human, not artificial. That's your advice. All right, before I announce the final award of the day, a quick announcement we missed out one of the nominees in the earlier announcements. Our apologies to you. In the top innovative MSME micro soft serve solutions, if you're in the audience, we're sorry your name got missed out, but you were a nominee. That's a small correction. This brings us to the final award of the day. And before I tell you who wins the final award, a quick word of thanks to our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Aditya Birla Finance, our insurance partner, New India Assurance, our state partner, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, and our evaluation partner, CareEdge Ratings. Thank you, sponsors. The final award in the ET MSME Awards is Top Exporter of the Year Trading, and here are the nominees. All right, any guesses for who wins the final award of the year? Yes, that's absolutely right. The award goes to Quality Chrome Private Limited once again. Congratulations, Quality Chrome. Thank you, Mr. Kedia, and thank you, Mr. Sinha, for doing the honors. That most important part of the evening is finally here. Dinner and drinks is about to be served. But before that, may I invite all of tonight's winners for a photo op onto stage. Please bring your awards and come on. And if you're bringing large teams, you may not all fit at one time. So I request you to take your turns and come onto stage for a photo op. Everybody else, please join us for drinks and dinner. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next year, same time, same place.